Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be reading from Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. This was made into a movie in 2018 by Alex Garland. I highly recommend you check it out. I'm going to be reading the first couple pages of this book from which it was adapted. Part 1, Initiation. The tower, which was not supposed to be there, plunges into the earth in a place just before the black pine forest begins to give way to swamp and then the reeds and wind-gnarled trees of the marsh flats. Beyond the marsh flats and the natural canals lies the oceans and, a little farther down the coast, a derelict lighthouse. All of this part of the country had been abandoned for decades, for reasons that are not easy to relate. Our expedition was the first to enter Area X for more than 2 years, and much of our predecessors' equipment had rusted, their tents and sheds little more than husks. Looking out over that untroubled landscape, I do not believe any of us could yet see the threat. There were 4 of us: a biologist, an anthropologist, a surveyor, and a psychologist. I was the biologist. All of us were women this time, chosen as part of the complex set of variables that governed sending the expeditions. The psychologist, who was older than the rest of us, served as the expedition's leader. She had put us all under hypnosis to cross the border, to make sure we remained calm. It took 4 days of hard hiking after crossing the border to reach the coast. Our mission was simple: to continue the government's investigation into the mysteries of Area X, slowly working our way out from base camp. The expedition can last days, months, or even years, depending on various stimuli and conditions. We had supplies with us for 6 months, and another 2 years' worth of supplies had already been stored at the base camp. We had also been assured that it was safe to live off the land if necessary. All of our foodstuffs were smoked or canned or in packets. Our most outlandish equipment consisted of a measuring device that had been issued to each of us, which hung from a strap on our belts, a small rectangle of black metal with a glass-covered hole in the middle. If the hole glowed red, we had 30 minutes to remove ourselves to a safe place. We were not told what the device measured or why we should be afraid should it glow red. After the first few hours, I had grown so used to it that I hadn't looked at it again. We had been forbidden watches and compasses. When we reached the camp, we set about replacing obsolete or damaged equipment with what we had bought and putting up our own tents. We would rebuild the sheds later, once we were sure that Area X had not affected us. The members of the last expedition had eventually drifted off, one by one. Over time, they had returned to their families. So strictly speaking, they did not vanish. They simply disappeared from Area X and, by unknown means, reappeared back into the world beyond the border. They could not relate the specifics of that journey. This transference had taken place across a period of 18 months. And it was not something that had been experienced by prior expeditions. But other phenomena could also result in premature dissolution of expeditions, as our superiors put it, so we needed to test our stamina for that place. We also needed to acclimate ourselves to the environment. In the forest near the base camp, one might encounter black bears or coyotes. You might hear a sudden croak and watch a night heron startle from a tree branch and distracted step on a venomous snake, or which were at least 6 varieties. Bogs and streams hid huge aquatic reptiles, and so we were careful not to wade too deep to collect our water samples. Still, these aspects of the ecosystem did not really concern any of us. Other elements had the ability to unsettle, however. Long ago, towns had existed here, and we encountered eerie signs of human habitation. Rotting cabins with sunken, red-tinged roofs, rusted wagon wheel spokes half buried in the dirt, and the barely seen outlines of what used to be enclosures for livestock, now mere ornament for layers of pine needle loam. Far worse, though, was a low, powerful moaning at dusk. The wind off the sea and the odd interior stillness dulled our ability to gauge direction, so that sound seemed to infiltrate the black water that soaked the cypress trees. This water was so dark we could see our faces in it, and it never stirred. Set like glass, reflecting the beards of gray moss that smothered the cypress trees. If you looked out through these areas toward the ocean, all you saw was the black water, the gray of the cypress trunks, and the constant motionless rain of moss flowing down. All you heard was the low moaning. The effect of this cannot be understood without being there. The beauty of it cannot be understood either. And when you see beauty in desolation, it changes something inside you. Desolation tries to colonize you.